Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, it looks like we got the perfect storm coming together. We're talking about cryptocurrency and the industry itself, as well as the global monetary system. Don't believe it, it's still true. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content at the top of the screen. $1.17 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is off right now by 2.9%. Bitcoin, 27,000, slightly over, and we see Ethereum, $1,700 and change. And Tether market cap right now, $79.2 billion. Remember that, $79.2 billion, because it's going to be very important for the conversation going forward here today. Believe it. XRP is 47 cents, 6.5% up on the 24-hour. Now, we like hearing that. Where could it go? I don't know, but I'm here for it. I can tell you that. Any day now, we could get a ruling in the SEC versus Ripple. Head on a swivel. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you right now, we are 39 days and counting till the first ever XRP Las Vegas 2023 conference. Less than 80 tickets left. Get your tickets before it's sold out. I'm standing in the facility as we speak right now. All right, everybody. I'm standing right here at the Treasure Island Hotel Conference Center on stage in 39 days, where you're going to see all the amazing people in this XRP Las Vegas Conference 2023. First time ever. It is going to be amazing. Get your ticket, because this room is going to be full of hundreds of XRP people, and you're not going to want to miss what we got in store for you. This is going to be incredible. 39 days and counting. These tickets are going to sell. This is going to sell out. There's less than 80 tickets left. Get your ticket right now and be a part of the first ever XRP Las Vegas conference. It's going to be incredible. We'll see you soon. And there you have it right there. And that is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't mind telling you, standing in this facility has made me feel so much better. Talking with the people that are here and having our point of contact and meeting with the AV, the catering, the lighting, and everybody that's going to be involved has been just an amazing experience so far. And we cannot wait to show you what we have planned for you. Get your ticket. It is absolutely going to sell out at the pace it's going here. Spend the Bits is going to be one of our panelists at the conference. Shout out to Jay. And you know what? He has been busy. Listen to this. Spend the Bits and Jay say that they are happy to share that we've officially initiated the proof of concept for integrating Spend the Bits app with Flare networks. By leveraging Flare's trustless transaction capabilities, we can offer a more secure, transparent, and efficient Bitcoin payment solution through Spend the Bits. Now, this is how everybody comes together and works together to make a more incredible experience using digital assets and transactions and payments. Payment solution through Spend the Bits. This integration will enable more transparent, immutable, and verifiable transactions. We currently aiming for the first build rollout to be available by the end of April. And we'll keep you posted on the progress. Stay tuned for more updates. Boy, we are going to have some incredible news on that stage on May 5th or May 6th on the conference day. I'm telling you right now, Flare Naming Service is another one that's going to have some incredible breaking news on that day. Make sure you're there for it. Here we see Silicon Valley Bank acquired by First Citizens after failure. You know, this is the merger acquisitions we see here, right, happening. And shout out to Mark Phillips for this one. We'll keep you up to date as we see this happen to even more banks going on in the future, especially the banks that have created amazing relationships with fintech companies and crypto companies. Jeremy Hogan shares with us here that the summary of the SEC library hearing, this information is now coming to light. We're able to see these transcripts now. And what the SEC has done to Library and Jeremy Kauffman and everybody there is absolutely despicable. But you know what? Shout out to Jeremy Kauffman for the courage that he's had to stand up and fight knowing what they were doing to him, and he continued to fight and tell the truth and stand up against the SEC. And that takes a lot of chutzpah. And I tell you what, Jeremy, you got it, buddy. Shout out to Jeremy Kaufman and Library for that. But look, it goes on and on and on, because now here, breaking from Eleanor Terrett, Binance and CZ Binance are being sued by the CFTC now over alleged regulatory violations. Now, this is important because this is the CFTC now, right? So John Deaton says it best here. First of all, the report from Blockbits shows that in the lawsuit filed today, CFTC versus Binance Holdings and CZ, the CFTC clearly states that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin are all commodities. Interesting battle happening at the regulatory level, and it really is. And John Deaton says it doesn't take a constitutional law expert to understand that the SEC has limited jurisdiction over the crypto industry. Barring congressional action, frontline regulation of digital assets belongs with the Commodities Futures Trade Commission. I don't think you could say it any better than John Deaton just said it right there. That's what we're talking about here. This whole regulatory war over a jurisdictional land grab. It is despicable what's going on in this country with this over this innovation. It really, really is. And, you know, shame on Gary Gensler, because Gary Gensler had such a clear and understanding view in 2018 of what was what, and now he's got all of this ambiguity and vagueness, but claiming that there's clarity at the SEC, when we all know that he's using it as a cloak to be able to attack. And I have said this for quite a few years now. The bottom for cryptocurrency isn't going to be in until we see how the Department of Justice and the U.S. government feel about USDTether. Well, now CNBC wants to talk about it. And what does that tell you? CZ Binance is being sued by CFTC. Other exchanges being sued by the SEC. This is really about collapsing the system as we know it, straining and suppressing the market, and causing all of the companies out here to go close to failure or to failure. And then the legacy firms, we all know the names, to come in and buy up this space, and then it will be okay to do it. Right? That's what's coming. But I tell you what, again, take a listen to what CNBC's talking about.
The banking system, and to get around this,
Here we go.
So talk to us about this Tether situation, because
Please
this sounds
do.
a little spooky. You're talking about shell companies, potentially falsified documents, a lot of allegations flying around. You wonder if this is going in sort of an FTX direction, or if, as the company says, you know, really nothing to see here. Explain what's happening and why we should care. Really.
So the two companies behind Tether, which is the world's most popular and widely traded US dollar pegged stablecoin, are accused of essentially falsifying documents and using shell companies to get bank accounts. So we're talking about two companies. There's Tether, which is the parent company to the stablecoin of the same name, and then its sister company that runs Bitfinex, which is one of the world's biggest crypto exchanges. Now, in 2018, both companies were having issues maintaining their access to the banking system, and to get around this, the Wall Street Journal found that both companies started using these shadowy intermediaries. So think of like third parties, such as other businesses or individuals, to open and maintain bank accounts. The report went on to say that they circumvented the banking system by providing fake sales invoices and contracts for deposits and withdrawals. That Wall Street Journal report, Eamon, also specifically references an email in which the co-owner of Tether Holdings pushed back against the use of these fake sales invoices, saying that he would not want to, quote, argue any of the above in a potential fraud and money laundering case. Today, we did hear from Tether's chief technology officer, essentially saying that the report contained a ton of misinformation and inaccuracies, but didn't really specify what the issues were with this report.
Wow. A lot.
Well, let me take it from there. Let me tell you, look, there's a way to solve all this, right? You know, Tether could simply do the audits the way anyone else has done the audits, and this wouldn't even be a conversation on the news today, now would it? But it is. You know, I'm reminded I am reminded of Brad Garlinghouse when he said, I don't know why we need all these different stable coins, 10 different stable coins or whatever. I don't know why we need all that. We have the dollar. And I couldn't agree more. And I think a moment like this speaks to exactly whether Brad intended it to be exactly towards this or not. I think it speaks to the point of what Brad Garlinghouse was making that day at that conference, is I believe it speaks to the point that if you're going to have central bank digital currencies, why would anybody want to use a private one, especially if that central bank digital currency was done properly, where it does not infringe on your privacy, right? So that is a key point. And bringing to that point, let us not forget that we are moving to a new system, a new financial system that's not just a new market infrastructure for crypto and digital assets. That is indeed unfolding. We've just looked at a bunch of that right now. But what we can't forget is that the larger part of this market is digital assets, the tokenization of everything. Crypto itself is going to be an extremely small part of the digital asset revolution. What we're talking about is tokenizing everything. And what we're seeing with BRICS coalition is that they have created their own financial system so they can join together as member states and they can be stronger together to do something none of them could do on their own, which is create a perfect storm to create catastrophic abandonment of the US dollar. And digital money will be the rescue. And that rescue will be central bank digital currencies. And I don't find it at all a coincidence that Tether is now becoming that conversation again on mainstream media news, because we know mainstream media serves the power masters, right? The puppet masters. Something is coming. And when it does, I believe it will be swift and it will be transformational. Take a listen to this.
Announced this week that Russia will begin using the Chinese yuan for international payments instead of the dollar. Saudi Arabia is also in talks with Beijing to do the same thing. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, they're in talks with Iran as well to consider an economic alliance with China and Russia. And they can even be joining the BRIC countries, which is an acronym for these countries here: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries all have emerging economies. So what happens if our economy and the U.S. dollar are no longer the world's dominant currency? Former Assistant Treasury Secretary and host of the Monica Crowley podcast, Monica Crowley, is here to weigh in. Monica, great to see you this morning. Let's start right there. What happens if these emerging economies move away from the U.S. dollar towards the Chinese yuan?
Well, good morning, Will. It's great to be with you. And it's really hard to overstate exactly how catastrophic the abandonment of the U.S. dollar would be as the world's global reserve currency. Look, since the end of World War II, the dollar has been the safe place to go, and it's been backed up by a couple of things. It originally was backed up by gold, but President Nixon took us off the gold standard, so there's no hard asset backing up the dollar anymore for the last 50 years. But also it's been backed up by the strength and economic power of the United States and the fact that oil has always been traded in dollars. If that were to end, that would mean the end of the U.S. dollar. Look, there is a perfect storm happening right now, Will. The world's reserve currency being that, having that status has been a real privilege, but we've abused the privilege by wholly reckless monetary and fiscal policies over many years, certainly over the last couple of years, which has really devalued the dollar. On top of that, now you do have this perfect storm of Biden's weakness, his war on American domestic energy production, the Ukraine war, and as you point out, because of all of these things, we've got America's enemies led by China forming a new economic bloc. And all it would take at this point now, because we're at this pivotal moment, Will, is for Saudi Arabia, who has indicated that they're open to this, to say, you know what, we're going to be open to considering other currencies to trade in oil. If that were to happen, there would be a complete implosion of the global economic system, but certainly the American economic system. And if that were to happen, you'd be looking at sky-high inflation, just raging Weimar Republic kind of inflation. If you think inflation is bad now, just wait. But more importantly, we would lose our economic dominance and we would lose our superpower status.
Monica, the world's reserve currency, you said it's a privilege for the United States for the dollar to have been the world's currency. How does that relate to each individual American? How has that changed or impacted or improved our lives throughout the last several decades?
Yeah, I mean, it's given the United States incredible dominance in the world in terms of the economic system and in terms of trade. It's kept prices down. So whether it's energy prices, whether it's your food prices, the entire global economic system is reliant on the safe and secure dollar. But that is no longer true, again, because we've been printing money like crazy and devalued the power of the dollar and the value of the dollar. But on top of it now, again, oil is the critical linchpin of this. If Saudi Arabia decides to join with America's enemies here and start trading oil in different currencies, that is going to undermine the entire global economic system. And here at home, you know what it's going to mean for us? It's going to mean raging inflation, so much worse than anything we have ever experienced, Will. And I'll tell you, they're setting it up so that they can then come to the rescue by introducing central bank digital currencies. If they were to do that, and the United States already has a pilot program, that means the loss of your individual economic freedom, because the government will have total access and control of everything you buy and sell and the ability to turn it off like that.
And that's why we have to make sure that that doesn't happen. That's why we have to make sure that there is a third-party private relationship between the federal government, a digital dollar, and the citizens that use it around the world. No question about it. If the U.S. government can keep their greedy paws out of going the way of China and the Chinese digital yuan, and they can respect what they should respect, which is the Constitution, in issuing digital money, then let me tell you what the benefit could be there. Because there's a couple things. One, it will be the most in-demand digital dollar around the world because you actually designed it where it does not spy on people. Unless they do something illicit, then you can chase down a suspicious wallet address. The other part of this is talking about the raging inflation that would be created if Saudi Arabia, by the way, which has a $15 billion memorandum of understanding, which means once we do this $15 billion MOU, if it goes well, we're joining BRICS. And if that does, it's obviously going to take down the global reserve status elevated by the petrodollar agreement. It doesn't mean that the dollar status would go away, but it would be severely damaged. And it would probably, as she said, cause raging inflation here at home. And I can't think of anything better than a bridge asset like XRP and the XRP ledger to help us get through it. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives.